We've all heard the shocking statistics. Over 1/3 of all Americans could not come up with $1,000 to pay for an emergency car repair. Over half of the people that make over $100,000 a year don't save a dime. And almost 1/4 of all people that make over $200,000 a year don't save a dime a year. Those numbers are startling. Does it make it any easier for me to make the claim in the title, how to retire richer than 99% of all your peers? No, it doesn't. It's gonna take some discipline to get there. You're gonna have to watch through the whole video in order to get there. But let's get going on this journey. Okay, so we got to start with the basics. The basics are, I don't care how much money you make, as those examples earlier showed, you have to spend less than what you earn. If you don't spend less than what you earn, you're never going to save money, right? I mean, it just makes sense. And once you're starting to save money, it's not enough to just save. You have to invest. And if you have more than 10 years, you know, stock and equity exposure probably makes a lot of sense to have in your portfolio. You have to be beating inflation, because you got to remember, compounding is your best friend, but it can also be your worst enemy. It's your best friend when you're saving and you're getting a rate above inflation, because then your assets are growing and the dollars you made last year are in the pool to grow this year with the rest of your money. And you do that for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. It makes a big difference, right? The story of Warren Buffett, you know, one of the richest guys in the world. And as of 2 years ago, he was worth $92 billion. But, you know, he was only worth a couple $1 billion when he was 65 years old. As is this recording, he's 92 years old. And a whole lot of his net worth has come from compounding. So time's your best friend if you're earning more than inflation. But if you're earning less than inflation, it works against you just as powerfully. So you have to take enough risk that you can beat inflation, and hopefully beat inflation by a healthy amount. You know, I would say to benchmark at least 5 percentage points. You want to work with a fee-only financial advisor. I don't know your situation. I don't know your risk tolerance. Work with a professional to figure out what you should be targeting for returns over, you know, an investment life cycle, which tends to be like 7 to 10 years. So rule number 1, spend less than what you earn. Rule number 2, be sure to invest those savings. Don't just let them don't let them sit idly in a bank. Okay, the next one, and this is, I'm channeling my inner Jack Nicholson. You know, this is going to be a painful truth. And the question is, can you handle the truth? Or, you know, you can't handle the truth. That's not a very good invitation. Sorry. But the truth is, for many people, their worst enemy, their biggest challenge, unfortunately, is ourselves, right? We're human beings. We're wired, you know, we have emotions. We can't just turn off those emotions. And some of those emotions are greed and fear. So when the market's going well, we want more exposure to equities. And you know, when things are scary, like 2008, 2009, or the first couple weeks of COVID, you know, that was a 30% drop in a little over 4 weeks. Boy, that was painful. It's really hard to stay the course. And people that blew out and stayed out, when I say blow out, meaning, you know, they sold their stocks because it just felt so scary, and they said, well, I'll buy in when the market gets lower. Well, you know, the reality is a lot of those people never did that. And some of those people are still in cash, and they've lost out on a lot of returns. And unfortunately, they've changed the quality of retirement that they can look for. So don't let that be you. You need to reflect, your investments need to reflect your personality. And I think the best way to do that is to work with a fee-only financial advisor. You can find one just by Googling that term. Okay, so I don't think you should be looking at your investments every day. That's, to me as a financial advisor, and I've been doing this over 20 years, and I've worked with hundreds of families, the people that watch their stocks every day, that look at their accounts every day, those are the ones that are more likely to be hurt by their own decision making. and let their emotions play a bigger role than they should allow their emotions to play. And it can hurt you, and it can hurt you bad. So don't be watching it every day. Really, every week, I think, is too often. I think you should hire a professional that you agree with the strategy of how they invest makes sense to you, and you've got complete trust in whoever you hire, and you know they're a fiduciary to you 100% of the time. And by the way, get that in writing, right? If you're working with a fee-only financial advisor, they have committed to doing it. It doesn't mean other advisors won't be a fiduciary to you 100% of the time. That's a key part. Because a lot of my industry, they're fiduciaries some of the time, but not all of the time. And you don't want to be guessing when things are painful. Are they wearing their white hat, their fiduciary hat, or their black hat, their salesperson hat? So that's number two. Or actually, number three is I think you should work with a fee-only financial advisor because your mistakes are the things that are going to hurt you the most. So the other one is you don't know what you don't know. I've talked about a strategy on my videos here quite a bit, and I've had a lot of people say, "Hey, Azul, thank you so much. I've never heard of this before." And I got to tell you, it's an enormously important topic that we all need to know about, and it's what I call the 3-bucket strategy. When you get to retirement, you need to have some money that you can access without having to pay tax. Let's say you need to take $100,000 a year out of your account for your retirement. Well, if everything's in a traditional IRA, just to keep it simple, or a traditional 401k, all of that money coming out is going to be taxable. And that's going to impact the taxability of your Social Security. That's going to impact how much that you pay for Medicare Part B, not Part A, but Part B. And it's also going to impact the taxability and the tax rate of your dividends. There's just a lot of things that it impacts, where if you have a bucket like a Roth IRA, a regular Roth IRA, you did not get the tax break day one, but now as you take money out, that money's not taxable. So if you had those two accounts and you needed $100,000, you could take some of it out of your regular IRA to the point where you're being very tax efficient. So you don't know what you don't know, and the 3 buckets is just one of hundreds of these things. And I've been doing this 20 years, and I'd like to say that I know everything in the field, and I know a heck of a lot, and I can share that with my clients. But even people that have been doing this for decades, in fact, as I speak, there's a big conference taking place in my industry for continuing education. I get my continuing education through other sources, but it's important for advisors to stay current on everything. Okay, let's keep going here. I want to make sure I say this. If you're enjoying this video, if you enjoy my videos, do me a favor, hit the like button. It really does help me out with the algorithm. If, as the kids say, thumbs for likes and subs for love. If you're really enjoying my videos and you'd like to see them on a regular basis, hit the subscription button and leave me a comment in the comment section. I try to read all of them. I reply to at least a dozen a day, often 2 or 3 dozen comments I reply to, and it's kind of the currency for me. So do me a favor, leave me a comment. Okay, let's keep going. I talked about the 3 buckets. Now we're getting to the more advanced thing. So how do you retire richer than 99% of your peers? Now, I've gone over the basics here, right? And obviously there's no guarantees, but one guarantee I can tell you, if you promise not to tell anybody I said this, is if you have a grateful heart, your retirement is going to have more joy in it. If you stay curious, if you stay connected with family members, with friends, with relatives, all of that. So grateful heart, stay curious, stay connected, keep contributing. Just because you're not getting paid for your work, you decide to retire, it doesn't mean that you stop contributing. I think we all want to contribute at some level. It's just a core part of being, of the human experience, of being part of a society. And always keep that adventure in your heart. And if you do that, you know, I guarantee that you're going to retire a happier person, and probably happier than 99% of the people out there. So if you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to enjoy this video up here, which talks about the average income that retirees have. And then this video down here, which talks about 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can. Thanks for watching. I'm Azul. Bye-bye.